Hey, everybody. Welcome to the first show of 2022. You're live on Brofessor and Friends. Welcome to be here. Hey, everybody. Welcome to
What's
2022. Happening? Tony and
Heck
I
yeah.
wish to wish you a happy new year. Welcome to Brofessor and Friends 2022. Woo-woo.
That was fun.
Oh man, that was good times. We
Hey,
were
Connie.
down there in the middle of nowhere, in Study Butte,
That's
Texas,
right.
South Texas. How far away was that trip for you?
900 and something million miles away. I don't know. Was it nine?
It was
900
right
something?
in the nines. I think it was 14 hours and just shy of 15 hours from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Tony got some new glasses. They said 2022 on them. Yeah. Surprised he doesn't have them on here. I don't know where mine are. I haven't unpacked the vehicle yet, so it's it's uh it's just one of those things. Hey Jeff, thank you for joining us on the show. Oh man, we have both just got back from Big Bend National Park on a week-long trip down there, and Tony, you got to go home, and
Yeah.
and you got to go home and unload and unwind and get your dogs and all that, and because of this nasty COVID stuff, I got to go in my house for about 2 minutes, grab some clothes, and then go to my parents' house. And
You haven't even seen your dog yet, have you?
have not even seen Bruiser. Bruiser is
Oh,
wondering
man.
where his dad is.
Yeah.
Bruiser is wondering where his dad is.
Hey, Travis.
He's having a hard time. He's in big time depression because he doesn't have anybody to play ball with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna have to see my buddy pretty soon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see my buddy pretty soon. But I think it's gonna be tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm gonna get to see my buddy and get to play with him a little bit and maybe get back to somewhat of a normal routine. I hope. Well, I say normal. Who knows what normal is? I don't know. But I just want to say to everybody, man, 2021, what a whirlwind of a year that was. I look back on where I was a year ago and where we are now with the show and pretty much everything, and things are so different now. And
Yeah.
and I'm real excited to be here. Really thankful for all the sponsors that have come on and stayed with us and been unwavering with us since day one. Artemis has been here since day one. Aaron has always been a true friend and always has stuck by me and said, man, whatever you do, I want to be there. And I'm really appreciative of that. Chris with More Expo, he called me up several months ago and he said, hey, I want to be a part of your show. He said, I want my poster right there behind you the whole time. I said, okay, you got it. So he jumped in, and then we had Action Tracks. Casey came on, and I had Casey on the show, and I love Casey. He is such a neat guy. If you're ever at an event and Action Tracks is there and Casey is there, go up and talk to Casey because he's got some of the coolest stories about Baja racing that will just keep you captivated. And
that is no kidding.
Love hanging out with Casey. He is such a
W-
cool guy.
We got the camp next to him, and Sir William Goes at Rendezvous.
Yeah,
Both those guys are a hoot.
they are a hoot now.
Yeah,
They are a hoot, and they can't
yeah.
be still. They're all the time over going
They're all the
somewhere,
time.
doing
Yeah,
this, going back,
that's
passing
right.
through, getting them a piece of bacon, and saying
Yeah,
thanks, and they're on their way. Some cool guys. Linson Solar, you've powered everything since the beginning. Blue Seal Coffee, yeah, everybody knows me and knows I love coffee, and so they have been sponsoring the show for the past few months. Long Creek Overland's been there. John's doing a great job. We world premiered the Bro Nose series, so we're gonna have that coming out. The Bro Nose, different things. Back in the '80s, there was this guy called Bo Jackson. He was a multi-sport guy. He
multi-sport
knew
dude. Yeah,
everything, and these commercials came out. The Bo Knows
that's
commercials.
right.
Bo Knows baseball. Bo Knows football. Well, now
It's
here in 2022, you're gonna have the Bro Knows.
Bro Knows.
And Howling Moon Tents and Awnings came on, and right here at the very end, and love your stuff. Amazing products, and we're gonna have some big exciting news in coming days. I talked to some guys today, and pretty excited. Jared says he loves the Bro Nose graphic. Thank you, Jared. And Jared loves the Bro Nose because he created the
That's
Bro
right.
Nose graphic.
That's right.
But we're gonna have some exciting news, sponsors coming on, making sure the show keeps going. Everybody's loving the show, and they're excited about what 2022 might bring. But I tell you,
Awesome.
the best part of 2021 was bringing on Tony as my co-host. Tony, man,
I
I
love it.
appreciate you being here.
I love it. Thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
We got Keith on here from Dallas. We got people on here from all over. But Tony, would you like to mention some of the people that you? Tony has he voted for the beer drinking goat mayor in Lajitas, Texas.
Vote the goat, people. Vote the goat.
Vote the goat. And you
He's
can actually,
cool.
here's a ballot box where you can vote for the goat. So
that's right. He's cool.
I got that same shirt. I love that shirt. But do you want to say something about the people that help sponsor you and keep you going?
I sure would. I'm very thankful and appreciate all the support that we get. Pro Customs and Accessories. They're up here in Springdale, Arkansas. They do all kinds of upgrades, not just Jeeps, but any kind of vehicle. They'll do leather upholstery in your rig if you want, but they help sponsor some stuff on our Gladiator build, and we really appreciate everything that they've done for us. They have another segment of their business called Pro Tire and Automotive. They do, if you need repair and all that kind of stuff, they do that too. So, give them a holler if you're in the area. Also, they're sponsoring an event here on January 15th. It's kind of a little trail ride down in the Ozarks. So, if you get on their Facebook page and everything, you can kind of check that out. But
awesome.
Pro Customs and Accessories. TacForm is a company that makes accessory mounts, phone mounts, camera mounts, and stuff. They fully sponsored all of our mounts and stuff in both rigs.
Wow.
So Nick with TacForm has just been great to deal with, and we absolutely love them. So if you're looking for any of that kind of stuff, go check them out. Midland Radio, they another one we are super honored to have. They sponsored the radio for us on the Gladiator. Of course, I don't really need to do any introduction with them. Pretty much everybody knows what they do. But so I don't know if you use Onyx Off-Road or not, but they kind of hooked me up with one of their premier subscriptions, to kind of help with build their trail system in their app. So that's been really fun to learn and use. And we've got a lot of other affiliate partnerships that are worth noting. EcoFlow, GoPro, Grunt Style, 511, Goal Zero, some Amazon stuff, more details to come on all of that. But the Bats Off Road website's currently under. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I saw that today
Porker,
too.
yeah, another 50-watt
50
radio. That's
watt.
awesome. That's awesome. But the Bats Off Road website's under reconstruction. But we're going to have a section for all of that, all our affiliates and sponsors, and discount links and all that kind of stuff. So
Awesome.
Anyway,
Awesome.
we'll be
Well,
selling our own merch there too.
The overlandphilosopher.com is up, and if you want some patches or stickers or anything like that, you can go there, and I'll be glad to send you one.
Heck yeah.
Jared said they're releasing the 50-watt radio this week. I saw that.
I know it.
That is a really neat looking radio. I like the looks of it. It doesn't look very big. It looks small. They're packing a lot of wattage in a smaller package.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, the 40 watt, I have to listen to a lot of stuff that I don't want to listen to because it reaches out there not only to talk but also to listen. So that
we heard a lot of stuff this weekend, didn't we?
We did. We did. Sounded kind of shady, so we got off there. Hello, Kara. Thank you for joining us.
Holla.
I don't know if Kara is back from their trip to Big Bend or not. They stayed a couple of days after we were there. I don't know if you saw Matt riding the donkey. I think that's what we're traveling home on. So it might take a while.
I did. That was fun.
But anyway, we have just got back from this trip, and we wanted to take. It's probably going to take a couple shows to talk about this because there was so much stuff down there to see and do. I talked to a guy last night. He said, "Man, I was down there for 4 days, and that was plenty for us." And I thought, man, you must have not been to all the stuff that we did. Travis said, "Hey, Joey, I know you do a lot, but any thoughts on starting an Overland Discord?" That's a possibility. We could do that. I use Discord. Do you use Discord, Tony?
No.
Discord is an app where people can talk. It's not social media. It's just an app where people can talk. We use it for different things, and that is a possibility. That might be something that we could do. That it kind of replaces or takes the place of Instagram or Facebook Messenger or anything like that. So only certain people you can let in. So that's a possibility. That's a good question, Travis.
Yeah.
Am I able to watch the show again later? Yes. Anywhere on Bats Off Road Facebook, on the Overland Philosopher Facebook, or on either one of our YouTube channels. When we're off, it's there forever. So you can go on there and watch the show.
Dylan's a cool dude. He's got a really nice build. We met him and his family out in Colorado last year.
Oh, cool.
We met them on Black Bear Pass. But yeah. Anyway,
I got pictures today. You remember when we were down at the Starlight Theater? And I went down there to do something at my vehicle, and I was gone for a long time. And I told you a guy that was there looked at it, and he was like, "Man, can I take pictures of it?" Stuff.
Yeah.
He found me on Instagram and sent me those pictures today.
Yeah, he sent me mine too. Yeah.
Did he really? Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. I just thought that was cool. He was a young kid, maybe 15, 16 years old, and sent me those pictures. And I thought, man, that's awesome. I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
Kara says we already got plans for the next trip. These guys have fun and ride on. Said I saw both of your rigs in Terlingua, and they were so dope. Oh, and that's him. Have fun and ride on. That's the guy who took the pictures. Man, and I want to tell you on here, thank you for doing that. That was really cool of you to do that. And I know Tony's rig is a lot better than mine, and it's so much cooler than mine. But and we both have had people stop us and want to take pictures, but nobody has ever sent them to me like you did. And I want to tell you thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
That was cool, and I appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah.
Lester, appreciate you being here, man. Thanks for coming in from Oklahoma.
His name is Braden Taft, by the way.
Braden Taft.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I know on Instagram he goes by, I think it's Have Fun and Ride On. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Because I remember talking to him today and telling him thank you for that.
Yeah, he actually looked me up. He was sending me messages. Oh yeah, Dylan's got a young one. He's got a brand new
Oh,
baby. That probably, I don't
better
know.
you than me, Dylan. Better you
Yeah,
than me.
actually, he maybe 7 or 8 months or so.
Oof,
Anyway, but
goodness,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
little.
Brandon was texting me while we were at dinner at the Starlight.
Oh, okay, cool,
So
very
anyway,
cool. Well, like I was saying, we took a trip back in. It was like September or so. I started looking for a place to go for Thanksgiving, and I said I want to go down to Big Bend because everybody says that from late October to early March, that's the time to go because you cannot go between March and August because it's too stinking hot. And the rainy season is June and July. So
yeah,
it was, I started looking then and everything was booked. I couldn't find any places to stay. Got really frustrated. And then I said, well, maybe we can go find a place over Christmas. And so I got to looking, and Tony was planning on going on a different trip to New Mexico and stuff like that. But we were going to end up in the same place around Big Bend. And so I told Tony way back then, I said, y'all better be looking because I don't know. Everything's booked. I don't know where you would stay. And so I got to research and doing some things. Well, I got frustrated and just, kind of halfway gave up on it. And then somehow, and I don't remember who mentioned it. It may have been Aaron from Artemis because he had went out with Mountain State Overland, and he said that when these guys travel, they use this app called Hip Camp to find places to stay when they travel. And so I said, well, I'm going to check that out. So I got on Hip Camp. Well, there's tons of places to
mm-hmm.
stay
Yeah,
down there. It's private land.
yep,
And there was probably about 30 or 40 different options for us to stay down there and just camp. And a lot of it is just private property. People have fields. I say fields, it would be a field here, but down there it's just dirt and cactus is all it
yeah,
is.
right,
And they just have places to drive, and you drive between the cactuses and you set your camp up. And I thought, this will give us a place to stay. This will give
mm-hmm.
us an option because my number one rule, I do not want to stay in a Walmart parking lot. And I don't mind staying there at night, but I'm not staying there all week. And plus, there were no Walmarts within 150 miles of where we were, at
No.
least. But I do not want to drive 14 hours with no place to stay. And
Yeah.
so I at least wanted to get a place to stay. So I found this place called Hemp Camp, and we looked up this place called Coyote Crossing. And it had a lot of really good reviews on it. A lot of people had stayed there. It was $22 a night.
Yeah.
So it was actually the same price or cheaper than it was to stay in the park. And I thought, I'm just going to take a chance on this. I'm a visual learner, and I do not like booking things that I really have a lot of questions about. But I booked this, and then I texted the guy who was there. His name is Rob. He's the what do they call him? They call him the
host. He's the host.
The camp host.
Yeah, he's
So
actually the
him,
owner of the property too,
right.
But he's the host on Hip Camp.
And I texted him and I said, hey, just coming down here, want to make sure that we're good. And he texted me within 5 minutes, and he said, oh man, you're good. You're all set up. You're coming in on this day. You're leaving on this day. Blah blah blah. Okay. Then we kept getting messages about, well, there's a burn ban. You need to do this. So I texted him and I said, hey, there's a burn ban. Can we not have a fire? And he said, well, you can't have an open fire, but if you've got something off the ground and enclosed, then you can have an actual campfire. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. And we would have never known that. And so it was really a pleasurable experience dealing with him right off the bat. And it made me comfortable about where we were going. And so it got to closer to time, and Tony, you you kind of had some doubts about the trip that you were going on. It was a lot of miles in a short amount of time, a lot of driving. And so I said, well, hey, won't you just come go with us?
Yeah.
And you and Arla talked about it, and y'all booked a place down there, and I mean, it was on.
Yeah.
What made you want to take the chance on going with us and going to Big Bend? What was running through your mind at that time?
Well, so it kind of backed the clocks up a little bit to last spring break in March. We, Big Bend's always been on our radar, place to go, and we almost cut our spring break trip, or cut it short where we were at there at Padre Island, and we almost made the trek over, but it was midweek, and we knew we wouldn't really have a whole lot of time there, so we didn't do that. But it's always been, one of the places we wanted to go. And then when I saw Chad Morris with Trail Exploration, he was putting together a trip that encompassed Big Bend, but also went on over to New Mexico. I was so excited about that trip, and I knew, back then when we first started talking about it, it was just going to be me, because I didn't think Arla was going to have the vacation time to go. And so we I signed up for that, and I thought it'd be a really good trip, and then as kind of the fall progressed, we realized that she was going to be able to go with me, and then we kind of started looking at the itinerary a little bit, and kind of felt like maybe that might have been a little bit aggressive for us. So we decided it might be best to break that trip up into a couple of different trips and just focus on one thing. And I knew you were going, so I was like, yeah, that's more our speed. I didn't want to hold those guys up. Chad, man, he
blows and goes now.
He's up and at them at the crack of dawn. That dude.
We would get up and not even get coffee going good, and they would be pulling out.
Oh yeah.
Like, goodness gracious, those guys are really wanting to get after.
Yeah.
Bo Thompson is on here. You remember Bo? We met him at the Overlook, in the van from Bentonville, where we were having lunch over the Rio Grande.
I do now. I forgot he was Bo Thompson. Heck yeah. Hey, Bo.
Bo, thanks for being on here with us.
That's crazy.
My wife wants to say hey to you as well. Well, that's super cool. I love how it just fell together. Yeah. I love how the planning fell together. Our wives get along. You and I get along real well. We're about the same speed. We really don't have an agenda. We really don't have plans. So we thought, hey, that'll work out great. I knew that Aaron from Artemis and his family were coming down, going to be there a day after us, and Matt and Kara were going to come down and be down there at the end of the week. Yeah. And so when you all decided to come, it really became something that I really look forward to. I thought was going to be a special time, because we were all going to be down there at the same time to spend New Year's together. Yeah. And so that was going to be something that, I really dreamed of, taking almost a Christmas / New Year's trip to a place out in the middle of nowhere and celebrate it with some of the best friends we have in the whole world. Yeah. So it really came together, and I was very excited about how it all came together, and I really want to talk about that. But let's first pause for station identification. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm Barry Henderson with Tailback Trailers.
I'm Adam with Okie Overland.
This is John with Long Creek Overland.
I'm Drew with Rock Squash Design.
I'm Casey with US Action Track.
Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Misty from the Day We Make.
I'm Jeremiah from Overland Pioneer.
Hi, we're Jessica and Jorge with Woodwork Wonder.
It's Chris from More Expo.
I'm Misty from Lady Overlander Radio.
You're watching.
And you're watching.
And you're watching.
You're watching.
Are watching.
And you're watching.
From yourself, where we're going. And you're watching Brofessor and Friends.
Brofessor and Friends.
Professor and Friends.
Joey the Brofessor and Friends.
Brofessor and Friends.
Brofessor and Friends.
This is a Brofessor and Friends.
Brofessor and Friends.
Brofessor and Friends.
Sponsored by Artemis Overland Hardware in Springfield, Missouri. More Expo, April 8th through the 10th, 2022. Big Iron Overland Rally, first weekend in June of next year. U.S. Action Tracks, Blue Sail Coffee Roasters, Linson Solar, Howling Moon Tents and Awnings, and our good friends at Long Creek Overland. Thank you for joining our show. Let's get this party started.
I want to thank everybody for doing that for us on the show, for coming on and just taking time to do a little intro for us. That really means a lot and adds a little bit of humor and a lot of entertainment to the show and gives us the time to take a break and give our vocal cords just a little bit of a rest. Get a little drink. So, yeah. Man, putting this trip together was really fun. You know, I thought at the beginning it was just going to be Connie and I, and then y'all ended up coming along. Aaron came along, and Matt and Kara came along for a night with us, and so we really got to share this experience with some friends. Now, I know that you had a lot to prepare before this trip, and you only had a couple weeks because it was only like 12 or 13 days before the day that we left that you decided to go. So, I mean, it was like bam, bam, and it was right in the middle of Christmas. So you had a lot to get done before you left, didn't you?
Yeah, buddy. It was, yeah, right. You go with the flow, hun. But we went from it being a solo trip, just me and the Gladiator, to my wife and daughter coming along with me in the Gladiator, and then she won that tent on the Blue Line Overland drawing, and then started thinking about the future a little bit, and where that tent was going to end up and what she was going to use it for and everything. And then we decided to take 2 vehicles, so we had to prepare 2 vehicles for this trip. And one of them needed an oil change before we left. And then we figured out, the oil change guy revealed to us that we needed a CV joint in the front drive shaft and some brake pads and all that kind of good stuff. So on top of packing and doing all the prep and all that stuff, we had to do a little unexpected maintenance 3 days before Christmas, which Pro Customs helped us out with. It was amazing. I called them at 4:00 in the afternoon. I think it was Tuesday, and he said, "All right, we'll see what we can find. Have it over here in the morning." And he had the parts brought in the next morning. They put them on that day, and within 24 hours, he had me going. Wow. So.
That's awesome. That's good to have people that will work with you like that.
Yeah, buddy.
Actually understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Arlo wants to know where you're going to next.
I don't know. Usually the next planned trip would be spring break, and we don't really have. Oh, Porker says West Virginia, huh?
That's where we're going.
We've never been to West Virginia. Well, I haven't. Arlo used to live in Virginia.
You need to come.
Yeah.
That would be an awesome trip for y'all. Yeah. They are some great hosts. They take very good care of us, and I'm sure they would love to have you. Porker, and I've told it on the show before, he has, when he and I first got together, we rode motorcycles together. And he had a Ford Escape that he drove all over the place. He installs emergency lighting. He has a company out there called Autotronix, and I will give them a shout out because they have installed all of the lights that are on my vehicle and done a great job. Very professional. And they have a shop there by his house where they do all that. But in working on my vehicle and seeing all that we have got into, he dabbed a little bit in the off-road and overland, and he said it really took him back to his childhood of camping with his dad and things like that. So
that's what it is for me.
I went back in June, and we actually were able to take a day or two before they started working on my vehicle, and we went up into some of the mountains opened up the awning and different things, flew the drone over, took some pictures, and he caught the bug.
Yeah.
He caught the bug. We went to Tennessee in July. We did some off-roading there, did some exploring, and when we came back, it wasn't 2 or 3 months, and they traded vehicles, got him a 4Runner, and now he's got him a new Tacoma, so they got a 4Runner and a Tacoma.
Oh, boy.
And they are neck deep, and he's getting packages in every day that his wife don't know about. So
it happens. It happens.
He is ready for us to come out there and do some exploring with us. I know that he would love to have y'all out there to come with us. They are some.
Yeah,
some
we might have to do that. We might have to do that.
I
Generally,
guarantee you
spring break, we're looking for some warm weather, but I don't know. We just came back from plenty of warm weather, so.
And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go down there.
Yeah.
But who knew that Christmas Day in Arkansas was going to be almost 70 degrees?
Right.
And we start heading south, and I told my wife, I said, we're going to escape cold weather that's not even here. But
right.
Who knew?
Right.
Because in Arkansas it's different every 5 minutes, but that's kind of the way it works. But West Virginia is beautiful. I highly recommend it. I've been out there multiple times now, and it's one of those places that you could live out there a lifetime and never see all the good stuff that there is. In fact, Porker is really experiencing that just like I am in Arkansas right now. I've lived here my whole life, and every time I go out, I see and discover things that I never knew was there. And he's experiencing that in West Virginia right now too, and it's exciting for him, and I love that for him, being able to do that. And Connie said you can get those yellow-eyed peas we had at camp, so that's where we get them.
I don't want to get off track here. Just something real quick. Something else that is exciting to me right now since we got back from this trip?
What's that? Oh, yeah.
I went through Sunday night and I put all the stuff in there that we picked up, all the stickers and stuff.
Isn't that neat?
And it is a neat book. I love this.
It really
is. For
those who don't know what he's talking about, that's the National Parks Passport. It's the passport to your national parks, and all of the national parks have a stamp, and they call it a cancellation. And you go to the place where that is, and you put the cancellation in there, and it has in there the date and time of the time that you visited, and they also have the stamps that you can get from each park and put in there as well. So it's a very neat collectible. Travis said he has the small one. That's the one my wife has. They also have the little coins that you can collect that my wife collects. I have the same one that Tony has, and I've got well over 100 stamps in there from the places that we've been probably the last 5 or 6 years. But it is a neat place that and a lot of the state parks are doing that now. I know Arkansas state parks are doing it. They have a passport that you can get to get a stamp from all the state parks. It is neat as well. And he said there's a national park there as well. So
that's why I brought that up, because I might need to go there while we are there.
And there's also 2 or 3 on the way, and 2 or 3 on the way back. So there's quite a few that we've been to in Kentucky, because we always go to West Virginia through Kentucky. But anyway, that's for another show.
Yeah, back on track. Sorry.
We can talk about that. We can talk about that later. But that is something that we can look forward to. Porker, I appreciate you inviting him to come out there. That's pretty cool of you.
Yeah, buddy.
But the preparation for this going down and being down there was something that I had never experienced before, because I had never traveled like this around a holiday.
We've never done anything
trying
like
to
this.
get everything done while also having to prepare for the biggest holiday of the year was something that really threw a monkey wrench into something I'd never experienced before. I had to take my trailer to the welding shop to get something welded on there for the water port. My diesel heater had quit on me a couple days before we left, so I had to work on it and try to get it going. I actually drove to Tulsa, Oklahoma to pick one up from Yona Adventure Gear, and I got to see Jeff from Bad Ack Adventure Co. out there while I was out there. So it was a good time, but it was also a full day that I could have been doing something else. So it was something all the time.
Yeah.
Trying to get ready.
Yeah.
And plus having to get ready for Christmas, it was stressful.
Yeah.
It was stressful.
It was. I've got to say here too, our family, when we started talking about going, we realized that usually the night before we leave is when we do a lot of our packing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the night before this trip was Christmas night, and that's usually the time that we spend with Arla's parents. So, her mom and dad were just amazing, and accommodated us when we asked if we could do, like lunch with them instead of dinner, so that we could be back home. So really, really grateful for them. Her parents are the best. But,
that was the same way for us. We spent the night before we left at my parents and we usually do it in the morning, but my daughter, who is now a nurse, has now been put on shift work, and she didn't get off till 7, and so we were there till almost 10 o'clock.
Oh,
and
wow.
so we either had to have everything packed and ready to go before we went, or we had to do it really late at night. And if you've seen the process that I have to go through to get my trailer out of the garage, it's one of those things, it just barely fits.
It's a modern miracle.
It barely fits, and I have to flatten the tires and back it in, then air the tires back up. And when I pull it out, I have to flatten the tires and pull it out, then I air the tires back up. And so it's a long, drawn out process that I don't like doing right before I leave, especially when it's hot.
Yeah, we did that with our trailer, our last trailer.
Yeah,
we had to air it down, and that still wasn't even enough. Those tires were so stiff, it still wouldn't air down enough. We had to pile weight in the trailer to get it compressed so we could roll it in.
Oh, well, I had the weight. I definitely had the weight.
Yeah.
I had the weight. And it wasn't that way until we put the rooftop tent on. But the way that we've got it set up now is perfect for us. We love how it's set up now. But I still had all this other stuff. I had tried to get a re-gear done on my FJ because I knew that I was going to be pulling the trailer down there over 2,000 miles. And I really wanted to upgrade the gears on the FJ to make it pull better, but for some reason, they can't get Toyota gears. And I tried for September and October, November, and no gears. And Matt got his Gladiator. He got gears done within 2 weeks of getting it. And I was like, this just ain't fair.
Yeah.
So anyway, this coming Sunday, I take my FJ down to Mud Connection. They're going to put gears in it. But it was, I tried to get that done. I had the diesel thing to worry about. I went camping right before Christmas, found out I had battery issues again. I couldn't figure out my battery. I bought a brand new lithium-ion battery, but I'm not an electrical guy, so I didn't know a whole lot about this, and I didn't have the right things to charge my battery. It went all the way down to nothing, so I had to go through the whole process of taking my other batteries out and putting them back in, the ones that I just took out. So it was one thing after another, trying to get everything situated. And then when we put my tent on, we put the slats on backwards. So I took a day, took my tent off, put the slats around, and I ended up, that was so much stinking work. But it created so much space on the FJ because I was able to put 2 Artemis or front runner boxes on the back and carry what used to be inside the vehicle outside the vehicle. And anytime you can do that, it was amazing. Plus the rear bumper that I ordered in March decided to be delivered on December the 23rd. So here I am, got 900 pounds of steel sitting in my living room. And people said, and Porker sent me a message. He said, I can't believe you ain't putting that bumper on. I can't believe you ain't putting that bumper on. I was like, man, I got Christmas. I got all this stuff to pack. I've got so much to do. It was just the timing of it was something that I had never dealt with before. And so,
I mean, if it had come in on the 21st or 22nd, you might have could have got it done.
I might have could have got it done. But I got out this afternoon. I got out the instructions on how to put this thing together, and I am so glad that I did not try to attempt this.
Oh yeah,
it is a dual swing out rear bumper, and it has 2 jerry can mounts, It's got a whole bunch of other mounts and stuff on it that, I splurged and got the one I wanted. And with all these extra parts and stuff, I bet there's 500 bolts in there. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is not going to be something I would want to tackle in a day and a half. So,
And they're probably every one of them put on with a lock nut.
I guarantee you. So, I want to remind everybody that this is a listener-driven show, and we love your comments and questions. And if you have traveled or done an overlanding trip around the holiday, how did that affect you? I want to know.
Yeah.
Because it was hard on us to try to get everything done, try to get everything packed and loaded, and try to get presents wrapped and different things like that. Now, last year, because of COVID, we spent Thanksgiving in West Virginia with Porker and Sasha, his wife. But that wasn't an overlanding trip. We actually stayed in their home, so we didn't have to pack a whole lot of, stuff. We just took off and went. And we went off and did some exploring and some off-roading while we were there. But this was different because we were going to be in a place that had no amenities. $22 a night, you don't get much. We got a toilet, which I didn't know that we were going to get. And it was pretty much like an elevated platform with a hole in it that went into a bucket. That's what they call a toilet.
Yeah.
So no electricity, so we had to take solar. No water, so we had to take water.
Yeah.
And so when you're going on trips like that, there's so much more involved in what you have to take.
Yep.
So anyway, it was something. It was something, but the timing of it was really what threw the curve on me. And Porker says it cannot be worse than that front bumper. The front bumper on my vehicle is probably the worst thing that I've ever had to take off and put on. The way that they've got the bolting of it set up, you cannot see, your hands can't get in there, and it is just a nightmare. The rear bumper is made by the same company.
You're in there trying to get a bolt started.
You're like this. And, and I tried it, and he tried it, and then I tried it again, and he tried it. And I bet it took us 4 hours to get one bolt started. I mean, it was just unbelievable, horrible. And so Connie's laughing at him. That's funny. But Arlo says it was worth it. And I agree. It was worth it because, there's just some things, and you really don't know what you're getting into. You really don't know if all this time and money for gas is going to be worth it. But once you get down there, it feels like the week goes by so stinking fast.
Yeah,
it just flies by because everything is going perfect.
Yeah.
And we had that talk earlier. How we got down there, and then all of a sudden it was Thursday and then Friday, and we thought, crap, we got to leave tomorrow. And so it was the timing of it was just really weird for us.
Yeah, Jared right there, they've got a cool trailer, that XLR, their trailer that they went to get. That's cool. I don't know if you saw, but their news on Christmas morning. Did you see that, Jared and Kayla?
I didn't.
They got engaged.
What?
Yes.
How awesome is that?
I know.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations,
you guys.
We seem to have a world premiere every week here on the
we try to.
Show.
We try
Jared Cook and Kayla Humber, congratulations on your engagement. We're excited that you're listening to the show, but we're more excited that you have found your forever friend, your forever partner to go on these adventures with. And
that's right.
And I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you because there's something very special about having somebody that shares the same loves and passions that you do. That's very special.
Yep.
And I'm excited for you. Let's see. Need ideas for good destination weddings. Oh, man. Huh. I don't know, but if you take me with you, I can marry you in any of the 50 states. I'm licensed and ordained. Listen to that. Woo-hoo!
Right there. Sounds like a trip.
But anyway,
Back on topic.
Now, yeah. Now y'all were coming from Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good haul for you, and I'm coming from Central Arkansas. But it was really odd to me that the time and the miles were almost exactly the same for us.
Yeah.
You
I
went
thought
west
that was
over
weird
into
too.
Oklahoma, and I had to go east a little bit around Little Rock. But I thought that was really odd that the times for us to get there were pretty much the same.
Yep.
Now, what is your preference as far as the length of travel for a day? I know that was something that made you shy away from the other trip. So when you and your wife are traveling together, is it different than when y'all drive separate? What's about your limit for a day?
First off, this is the first time we've traveled separate.
Okay.
So this one was kind of, in that regard, it was a little bit different, but we both looked at it the same, which is that it's not going to be something that we would take off and drive as far in two vehicles because we can't split the driving duties. So when we go on the way there, we generally try to break it up. If it's keep it, 8 to 10 hours. We have gone a lot further than that. Last year when we came back from Colorado, we drove from Ouray to Prairie Grove in one day. I mean, in one shot. And Arla actually did most of it. It's just kind of the way it worked out. But we wanted to get home and get back quick and didn't want to stop. So we drove the 16, 17 hours it was. And that was a long day. That was too long.
Long day.
Yeah.
That's a long day.
So
well,
we've
done that as well.
Yeah,
we're done that as well.
We're probably gonna lean towards breaking it up for the most part.
And it just I know that a lot of people and us included, and if you're out there and you have a limit that you put on yourself, or you try to break it up into 1 or 2 days, Lester says 6 or 7 hours max, depending on the distance between camp spots.
Yeah.
Travis said, had drove from Orlando to North and Central Texas a ton of my life straight through, but now I'm older. 9 hours is about all I want to do. I'm about the same way,
Same, Travis. Yeah.
I'm an old truck driver. I drove a truck. I drove from Little Rock to Dallas 5 days a week, and if you add up those miles, that's a lot of miles.
Yeah.
And I was over the road truck driver for a long time. I've done 6 iron butt rides on motorcycles, which is at least 1,000 miles in 24 hours. But it's I'm over that. I'm over that. And back then, all I could think about was the destination. And if we're going to Big Bend from Little Rock, Big Bend is all I thought about.
Yeah.
And I thought that was where I wanted to be. I did not want to stop. I did not want to, we would time our stops where we got gas and food at the same time. We did not stop and eat. We did not sit down and eat. We did not stop and stay at a hotel. We went as far as we could go. If we got tired, we pulled over on the side of the road. We laid our head down for a couple hours. We woke up and kept going.
Yeah.
And that was just the way that we did it. And Sasha says Porker's such a control freak. There's no splitting driving when we are together. And that's true. Porker does not like it when other people drive. And it was kind of funny when I was there that he went out in the FJ with me, and I looked at him. I said, "Are you going to let me drive my vehicle?" And he's going to ride with me. So I thought that was pretty funny. But I'm not that way anymore. And I like how we split it up, because we did about 500 miles the first day and about 300 miles the second day, ish, a little bit more than that. Probably we met in Colorado City, Texas, which was about 530 miles, I think, for us. We left at 5, got there about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Y'all rolled in about an hour and a half after we did.
Yeah.
And so that was actually a decent day. And now that I'm older, and I don't know if you're out there listening and you're as old as me. I'm 50 and a half. I'm still counting half years. But I actually try to take in a little bit of the scenery on the way now. I mean, that's
Yeah.
part of what I like to look at. Is that something? Do y'all try to look around while you're driving and see the different buildings, see the different things? Is that something that y'all do while you're traveling as well?
Some, yeah. I mean, it just kind of depends on which direction we're going. I mean, if you're going along through Kansas, there's not much to look at. West to Oklahoma and out there in the Panhandle, it's about the same.
Yeah.
So I mean, but yeah, we do when the opportunity arises. I would say something that kind of along what Lester said, 6 to 7 hours. It does depend on where we're staying. If we're going from camp to camp, 6 to 7 hours is a good day when you got to break down camp and then set up camp.
Yes.
But if you're going from your home and your next stop is a hotel, we'll stretch it out a little further.
Yeah.
But yeah.
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 And I visited, Connie says, Midland and Odessa, not looking. I had this visit with my dad when we got back because I had to go to my parents' house. But, I made the comment to y'all and to Connie. I said, Midland and Odessa is worse than driving through Kansas. At least there's something clean in Kansas to look at. It was just dirty, nasty trash everywhere. For about 200 miles, it was just, goodness, this is tough to look at.
Yeah.
But that's the part of the world, and people live in it. And it's a whole different world down there than what we're used to.
And that's a little bit different perspective too, if you're by yourself or if you're in a group and you're the lead vehicle versus one that's following. Because I don't really remember that much about Odessa and Midland because I was looking at the vehicle in front of me a lot.
Well, when we went through Odessa and Midland, you were so excited about your 21 miles per gallon. That's all you had to focus on.
Yeah,
because,
I probably was pretty excited about it.
What we went through the day before, we were so excited that we were actually having an easy time down through there. But we talked about gas mileage a lot and gas prices and things like that. But we made it to Colorado City, Texas. It was crazy how we traveled 900 miles one way. You went through 3 states, and I only went through 2. And Texas is just huge. It's just so stinking big. And I remember back when I was doing the long distance motorcycle riding, and the guys would do the East Coast to West Coast, and they said that when you got to the Texas state line, you actually got this horrible feeling in your stomach because you knew it would be over a day before you got out of Texas if you rode straight through. Because it's so far across from east to west. And it was huge.
Yeah, that's what we ran into last year when I was telling you about how we were thinking about cutting our trip short at spring break and at Padre Island and going. I thought, we'll just run over to Big Bend. You don't just run over to Big Bend from Padre Island. It's 9.5 hours from there.
Yeah.
And I thought, holy cow, I've never driven 9.5 hours and stayed in the same state.
Right.
Ever.
Right. And you weren't even on the tips.
No. No. So that's why we didn't go to Big Bend back then.
But the one thing that everybody needs to be prepared for if you do travel down there is the wind was just brutal. It was brutal. There's a lot of the wind turbines down there, and they're there for a reason. Because the first day we took all interstate down there. I know y'all took farm roads and back roads, but the wind just blew us 20 to 30 mile an hour headwind straight in our face. I was getting down into 3rd gear trying to pull some of those little bitty hills on the interstate.
Yeah.
How was it where y'all were?
Yeah, I mean, we there were periods, both going down and coming back where we were, the wind was a little bit better than other times. So we fluctuated. I mean, there was one time where I was getting, I think down in the 11 mile per
Yeah.
gallon range. So we
Yeah.
were fighting wind too. It just, when you're coming down from Arkansas, you going straight at the wind versus when you change, you got a little bit of a side wind, so it gets better. Yeah, it just depends on the weather and when you go. Sometimes you don't have any wind.
We mentioned the wind to Kara and Matt. Told them to be prepared for it, and they said that they didn't have any wind issues at all. Now coming back in the same area, we actually went through a huge dust storm. It was crazy. Everything was brown. You couldn't see very far. Everybody had their lights on.
It's crazy. I've never seen a dust storm like that.
The wind was about 40 miles at our back, and we were getting 21 miles a gallon again, and then 20 miles up the road, we hit a 40-mile-an-hour wind right in our face for 150 miles. And I'm like, how does this happen? There's not any hills out here to make the wind change direction. I don't understand this.
I could tell when I was following you, I could tell when I was going to need to steer hard into the wind, because I could see you would go like that, and this like half a second it would hit me. So I was just steering into it.
Yeah, boy, it grabbed a hold of me in that trailer and just tossed us around anywhere. And yeah, Kara, I understand you were pulling tank. Matt told me they got 8 miles a gallon on the way down there. That's tough. That's pulling a lot of weight. That's for sure. Yeah. But we made it to Study Butte, Texas on Monday. We left on Sunday, got there on Monday. I got there mid-afternoon. Ended up being better than I could have imagined. It was a beautiful spot. Coyote Crossing was exactly what I had hoped it would be. It was a great spot to stay. Study Butte, put that down on your list. It's right at the crossroads where you take either go into the national park or you go to Torlingua, and over there where the goat mayor is, and also go over to in Lajitas, and also go over to the state park. So it's right there at the crossroads. Has a good place for gas. It has a great hardware store that has groceries. You can get water there for a nickel a gallon, or 10 cents a gallon.
10 cents, yeah.
10 cents a gallon. And and you can also get a shower at BJ's RV Park for $5. So it's a great area to stay in. So I was very pleased with the area that we stayed in.
Yeah.
It has an art gallery that looks like a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, that's no doubt.
We tried to eat at, but they didn't have any food there.
We pulled right in there like we knew what we were doing, didn't we?
We did, but we went on down the road, and they had a really good restaurant there in town. Tons of places to stay. It was a really good area to stay in. So I was very pleased with that, and that was just by chance that we found that, and where that was, because if you look that stuff up on the map on Hip Camp, it's really hard to try to negotiate where everything is if you've never been there. Now I know where everything is. And there's also a huge variety of places that you can stay there. Really nice villas that we saw there. There were some teepees, some yurts.
Those little A-frame guys.
A-frame.
Yeah.
I mean, these things didn't look like they were 5 foot long and 3 foot across, but they were little A-frames that had little air conditioners with them. Tons of places to stay.
Right.
And so, it's something we might consider when we go back down there. So it's a really nice area to stay in. Study Butte, Butte.
Yep.
And I really enjoyed that area where we stayed.
Yeah.
Now, our campsite, the Coyote Crossing itself, was really nice. Rob, the camp host, had a really cool story about how he got there. I think, Tony, you talked to him right off the bat and asked him about the when you pull in, there's a canoe that he's got above his shed that he lives in his house, and you asked him about that.
Yeah, that was a crazy story. He's actually from Kansas City, and 20 years ago he got tired of the Kansas City life, and so he just packed up all of his stuff one day and decided he was going to go put his canoe in the Mississippi River. So he went across, I guess, across Missouri, put in the Mississippi River, floated all the way down to the Gulf, and then he paddled across the coastline, up the Rio Grande River, and up there to Terlingua. And then he got to talking to some of the people there, and they figured out what he had done, and they put him to work as a river guide. And
yeah,
there
I
here
remember
he
him
is.
saying nobody told me that somebody would pay you to paddle a canoe.
Yeah,
He said that. I
Yeah.
thought that was the greatest job ever.
yeah.
And
So-
he ended up settling down and buying a piece of land there. And he said he bought that piece of land because it actually had cell phone service.
Yeah,
The cell phone service down there is crazy. And
Yeah.
the time is crazy because you're right on Central and Mountain Time.
yeah,
And so half of our phones said Central Time and half of us said Mountain Time. We had no idea what time it was.
right.
We had to go look in our cars, for a clock that didn't change and actually see what time it was. And they told us that you have to set it to that time, set it to Central Time, and then turn your
Turn the
time
auto
off.
off. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's what you got to do. So that's a tip and a trick. We're
Yeah.
gonna have more of that on the next show. But that evening we had 2 long days of driving, and we just decided to chill at camp. You got the drone out. We set everything up. It was a great time to just chill, and the weather was just outrageous perfect that
Yeah.
first day.
Yeah.
First and second day. There was no wind, no clouds. The stars were just unreal. And we just sat there around the propane fire pit, and
Yep.
every now and then you would turn it off just to turn
Yeah.
on the light, and we would put our little
Put our
goggles on,
hand binoculars on.
and we would
Yep.
look up at the stars, and it was just you could actually see the Milky Way. That's the first place I've ever been where you can actually see the Milky Way.
Same here.
We
Same
all
here.
saw
It's
falling
amazing.
stars. It was just an incredible, peaceful night. It was exactly what we had hoped for.
Yep.
So that was it. That was the prep and getting down there. We wanted to make sure that everything was perfect. We wanted to make sure everything that was running good was in tip-top shape. It was a long way. He's going to be putting a lot of miles on. And all of our gear was in tip-top shape. We had more food than we could eat in 6 weeks. And, we get down there, we relax, cook a good dinner, and we all just went to bed happy. I mean,
Hey, we
it
did.
was awesome.
We did. Yep.
It was exactly what we had hoped for.
It was. It sure was.
And we're going to wrap it up for this week, but next week we're going to bring in a lot more information, a lot more photos of where we went, and try to incorporate those and try to let you see exactly where we went and have some recommendations of places that you can go. We're going to have tips and tricks about going down there, some things to remember when overlanding in South Texas, and more from the Brofessor and Friends and Bats next week.
Yep.
So
Same bat time, same bat channel.
that's right, buddy. That's
Yeah.
right, buddy. We'll be back on next week. But hey, look at there. Look
Oh,
who's
there's
with us.
Rob,
Look who's with us.
our camp host.
Appreciate you being here. Rob is the camp host where we were at Coyote Crossing, which we highly recommend. And Rob, we thank you for being here. You caught us on the tail end of the show, but you can also always go back to Facebook and YouTube and check it out and watch it. We appreciate everybody joining
Come back
in.
next week. Come back next week, Rob. We're
Come
going
back
to talk
next
about
week,
it some
We're
more.
going to have a whole lot more. I
Yep.
promise you. But we're kind of out of time, and we knew that we were going to have a lot to talk about on this trip. But we're so excited that everybody was here. I want to encourage everybody, get out there and live the best life while you can. Watch out for number 1 and don't step in number 2. Everybody have a great week.
Thank you for watching.
Brofessor.
Professor.
Professor and Friends.
Joey the Brofessor and Friends.
Brofessor and Friends.
Brofessor and Friends.
To the Brofessor and Friends.
Brofessor and friend.
Professor and
Sponsored by Artemis Overland Hardware in Springfield, Missouri. More Expo, April 8th through the 10th, 2022. Big Iron Overland Rally, first weekend in June of next year. U.S. Action Tracks, Blue Sail Coffee Roasters, Linson Solar, Howling Moon Tents and Awnings, and our good friends at Long Creek Overland. Thank you for joining us. We'll